Hello, everyone. I'm James Milan, and this is your Town Hall Update. I am joined by our town manager, Sandy Pooler. Sandy, another busy week, I'm sure.
Lots going on, James.
Yeah, lots going on is right, because I'm going to give the laundry list to folks right now of what we're going to talk about today. Topics will include an upcoming forum on turf field usage here in town, the FY24 fiscal year 24 budget plan, big item there. Street parking meters, people are probably wondering what's going on with those. Spring street sweeping, a couple of new hires, a recent arrest made in connection with hateful graffiti that was left at a Bluebikes Station, excuse me. Whew, quite a list, but let us start with an update on the town manager search. What should people know?
Last Monday night, the select board voted to make an offer as the new town manager to Jim Feeney, who is currently our deputy town manager. So at this point in the process, the select board and Mr. Feeney are entering into negotiations about the terms of the contract. Every town manager has a 3-year contract kind of throughout the state. So they just have to get the details of that down. I expect that to go ahead and look forward to having Jim officially signed on as the town manager to start later in the year.
All right. Yes, Sandy, you can have your retirement after all, maybe, huh? All right. Well, from that high note, let us move on. There is, as I mentioned, an upcoming forum on turf field usage here in town. Give us the word on that, please.
So we have something scheduled for May 2nd. I think the issue of artificial turf fields is an important one to discuss. I put a moratorium on the construction of new turf fields at least through the end of my tenure as town manager, which would be by the end of July, because I thought we needed a study period. So at this point, we are bringing in representatives from the Conservation Commission, the Parks and Recreation Commission. We'll have some people from the Health Department, really to talk about what the issues are. I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer to turf fields. I'm hoping that there will be some instances where we can come to some common ground on some things. There may be some things that we have some disagreements about. And there may be some things that I think, frankly, even after this forum, there'll be questions that we need to answer. So I think it's an important session with some experts available. I encourage people to come and to find out what we know and to continue what I think is an important conversation. We know we are putting new turf fields in at the high school. There's some proposals to put things in at Poets Corner, which right now are under discussion. No decision has been made yet. So I think it's a great chance for education.
Thanks. Next subject is one with which you have a slight familiarity, and that is the budget. So FY24 budget is out. What can you tell us?
So there are two important budget documents that are coming out now. We have what's known as the Financial Plan, which is a full description of the manager's budget, along with a lot of backup text and graphs and so forth, talking about departments' goals, objectives, what their mission statements are. We have a lot of performance measures in there. It's about a 250-page book. It's also online. But I think it's a great way ahead of town meeting for people to learn about what the various departments do. And it's, I think, a pretty good read for just anybody in town to see what's going on. So that is going to be available next week online. If you go to the town website and go to departments, there's a finance and budget section, and you'll see the financial plan. So that's number one. Number two, we have something called a PAFR, a publicly available financial review, which is it's just a 4-page document. It's going to go out in everybody's water bills, so it'll be out in mid-April. And it's just a very short, convenient way to see both what some of the basics are of the budget, some comparison of Arlington with other similar communities. And then there's on the back of it, it's a nice description on what we've been doing with some of our ARPA federal funds. So both these things are out soon, and I hope people take a look.
You know, I have to say that the PAFR is annual reading for me. It truly is. It's easily digested, and it does give a really good snapshot of the larger financial plan that you were discussing before. So I think that's great. I am curious, does it always go out with a water bill to people's homes? Because I don't remember that.
We've been doing that for the last couple of years. It used to go out, frankly, with the Arlington Advocate, but that is not what it had been before. So we decided to start putting it in the water bills.
Fair enough. So look forward to that, folks. Some good reading. I am curious about our next topic, I have to say, personally curious, and that is street parking meters and what's going on with those here in Arlington.
So we are going to replace all the heads on all the street meters. The ones that are in place now have 3G technology, which is a kind of mobile technology for phones that isn't supported anymore. So they simply don't work. We had to contract with a new company to come in and replace the meters. They had some supply chain issues, which listeners may be familiar with in their own lives. Bottom line, we are no longer enforcing collection of meters, at least until April 15th. We are hoping to have things up and running by then, although again, with some of the supply chain issues, stay tuned, keep watching the town website, but at least between now and the 15th, people do not have to pay at the parking meters.
Yeah,
anyway.
Sorry, yeah, not sure how much, how large a chunk of our annual revenue is represented by the parking meters, but I think people have been enjoying the break probably so far. And, it may be good news to many of our listeners that there's a couple more weeks of that to enjoy coming up.
Can I just add, Jim, we're still enforcing the 4-hour limit. So even though you don't have to pay at a meter, you can't park all day. The parking control officers will pay attention to that. So you can park for free for up to 4 hours, but then you need to move your car.
An excellent reminder. So it's springtime and almost feels that way on the days these days. And that means street sweeping.
Yes, we're going to start our street sweeping on Monday, the 3rd, next Monday. We will start on Route 1, which is in East Arlington. It takes about 8 to 10 weeks for us to complete the whole town. We would ask people to do 2 things, to pay attention to the announcements on the town website. When there's street sweeping on your street, please do not park on the street. And also, please don't put your trash barrels out on the street, as some people like to do. That allows, obviously, the street sweepers to go right up and down, clean up all the mess from the winter, and leave you with a nice street.
Great. We are getting through these items, and next up is a couple of new hires that you've got to announce, I think. Yes,
I'm very pleased to announce that we now have a new town treasurer, the second appointed treasurer in town after Phyllis Marshall retired, Anna Terrell, who is our deputy town treasurer. She holds she was a senior accountant at LaSalle. She also worked for the town of Wayland. She has her bachelor's degree from Brazil, where she grew up. And she's a very smart, hardworking deputy treasurer, and I'm very much looking forward to having her as our full-time treasurer. The other position that I know is of a lot of interest to members of the community is that we've hired a new animal control officer. Courtney Wilson is her name. She was previously the animal control officer for Lowell. She is a graduate of the Massachusetts Animal Control Academy, and she's certified in pet CPR and first aid. So it's an important position here in town, and we're very glad to have it filled.
Excellent. Welcome to both Anna and Courtney. Well, Anna to your new position and Courtney to town. We're down to the last item on our official list, Sandy, and that is unfortunately the recent arrest. Well, anyway, the arrest about an unfortunate incident, which is hateful graffiti left at a Bluebikes Station. Tell us more.
Yes, there was down near Spy Pond, there was an arrest of a gentleman who had left some hateful graffiti there at the Bluebikes Station. I'm very proud of the diligence of the Arlington Police Department, who was down there, saw the gentleman, trailed him. He lives near the area. They found spray paint and so forth, and they've made an arrest. This kind of activity does continue in town. We have had a number of recent incidents in our schools. There's also been an incident recently with St. Anastasius Church, the Greek church right on Mass Ave. So we just are living in a time, unfortunately, where these things continue to happen. The Arlington Police Department, the public schools in the town are continuing to be vigilant to identify the perpetrators and to condemn these acts. They're not what Arlington is all about. And so I would encourage people to keep an eye out, report if they see something, and to know that we're doing our best to hold people accountable.
I have to say, Sandy, that I imagine that there are many in the audience out there, either metaphorically or literally shaking their heads, as I am, in hearing about yet another of these kinds of incidents. It really is not the town that we want to be living in and that we believe ourselves to be. So let us hope that that people come to their senses, and also again that things revert more to an Arlington that we are familiar with, recognize, and are proud of.
Exactly.
All right, Sandy, anything that we have missed? Hard to imagine.
Just one thing that happened just the other day is that the governor signed an extension of the COVID remote meeting law, which means that it will allow remote and hybrid meetings for public bodies through the end of March of 2025. So we can continue to have those kind of meetings, and including the select board and so forth. Each board then has the option to decide how it wants to meet, but we're very glad that the state gave us that option, and as I say, some of our boards will then decide on their own how to make use of it. So a little continuance of some public safety protections. Great,
and added flexibility and potentially accessibility for folks through thereby, I guess. So, all right, thank you so much. We have been speaking, of course, I have been speaking with Sandy Pooler, who is our town manager for this town hall update. Sandy, as you all know, very busy man. We appreciate his time, we really do, and we appreciate yours. Thanks for joining us. I'm James Milan. We'll see you next time.